previous goal break of just the previous daily high on Tuesday. Following sort of the big move we had the last week, sort of looking for the continuation of what we've been having, sort of in that big tight big range. Just looking for that to continue, play the break higher, and then sort of it's more of a false breakout because it sort of comes back at you. I'm looking then for the continuation. So after we have the previous day's high break, it comes back and then it chops about, and I'm trying to manage the trade for that, looking for like the second wave like we got in the previous one I did a couple of weeks ago. Just looking for that sort of continuation, and then just see some more bits I can improve on from that perspective. So just the outlay of what I was looking at coming into the day. So this is at the beginning of the day. So also sort of a bit of a mixed day, sort of more indecision, as we opened here and we closed pretty, balanced really, up and down. Here I felt like it's quite a poor area, the amount of times we've traded here. Same as up the top really, you haven't really got any tail. It feels there's a chance we could break lower. So, or break high, we got this daily high which we touched previously, took another one. So here you sort of got in a way a double top. I still class this as like, pretty much in line with the previous high, So I will consider that like a double top, even though it's taking it. I still think you can still get the similar reaction or the same type of reaction of like stops through there. And also you had the next daily high 89s up higher. So this is a 15-minute chart. So this is what I'm looking at. So this was the high you had to take out. This is the trend line from the bigger picture perspective, and then there's an even higher daily high, which we did fail the next day and roll over. But mainly what I'm looking at is just the break of this. Sort of this is the week as we've got support, got through this area, sort of where we've sort of held. Sort of the way I was thinking, after you got this type of reaction, I'm expecting, as this is moving, it's going to be quite choppy and messy. The fact that then you're going back into that high isn't going to be a straight line move once you get through this. I felt like it would be messy, and try and get the position on to play the break of this. And then afterwards it's just choppy for the rest of the afternoon. Overnight's choppy, the next day's pretty messy as well. So again, through that trend line, you're looking for something else. That's what I was thinking of. Okay, we rejected it, pull back, try and get on the next wave, and try and hold the position maybe as far as it can. The next daily high was coming in at 68, 1796.8. So that was the main thing, playing that break through the sort of the wedge on the bigger time frame picture. So just a quick 1 minute sort of structure again is, we've got some high delta coming in on this big up move that we had. I got in quite late on this one. Another sort of like iceberg again, which something else has been happening. When gold's been having these big moves, you've seen someone accumulating, like 1,000, 1,500 lots. This one was only small. This was only like nearly 500, but you could notice it. And this for me should have been sort of the key area to then sort of buy into that. Obviously, you never know how big these are, but definitely I think you can buy into these or sell into them either way they come. They've been something I've been trading a little bit. When they do come along, you can really notice it. So that should have been like I put at the end of this is the trigger then to buy into the high. You're expecting if people are going to try and front run this type of iceberg or whatever. You don't know how big it is. People are going to have the stops above. It's right on the high, previous daily high, and then you get that acceleration move up higher. So I take some of this move again. As I say, only small sides. Again, you should be bigger. And then in here, I get involved back. I actually do buy in this area, and I take a loser in this area, and then I rebuy, and then I actually have bigger size on to try and break of this high and the trend line which then I have to manage the trade when I put bigger size on through here. And then we get a little bit of a move up, which I'm trying to hold, you know, some, you know, okay size, some more size, and then I let it come all the way back. But I'll get into sort of the execution of that in a minute. And also in this area we had an Austria 100-year bond that came out at the same time, so I felt like this could have mucked up sort of the trade at that point, as we were sort of breaking the high when that sort of came out. Renko chart in a way doesn't show too much, just the delta that rises straight from the bottom, you know, is massive, you know, make straight line move from the top to bottom, 108 ticks. This is the area then I'm getting involved in afterwards mainly. So after taking that move, getting involved in this area again is sort of a way to get rid of the noise and look at your 1 minute charts, and when they can be pretty messy. The Bollinger Bands is something I'm just trying to understand and sort of work on and see, you know, how can these keep you in trades? How do you sort of use them when they're bouncing off, and all these different types of things. It's sort of, I've noticed as well, once you get in this really starting to turn down, sort of they get rejected quite a bit. But just something that I'm trying to work on, something new to keep yourself in trades. Footprint again this is the area I just wanted to quickly show you sort of how the iceberg sort of looks. So you see this at 477 lots, and then you get the jump and you leave that imbalance and low volume behind. So this was the area I was getting involved in, straight at, you know, 90s, holding that, looking for the breakout. So then after that you've got all that messy area where I was getting involved in here. You get a bit of absorption and then sort of in this little range. Once you break through that, you leave that low volume once that seller's gone, and then we continue, and sellers do, you know, try and come in on this move on the way up. Obviously delta like comes off, which isn't ideal. I was sort of maybe being a bit greedy in the way of how I was sort of trading this. I was trying to lean on, the main sort of thing I was leaning on was sort of the dollar weakness that we had. So at the moment what we have is euro on the, I had to sort of try and squeeze all this in so you could see it. Also had euro on the far right here, cable just here, and the yen on the left, where the yen started to sort of really take some traction on this day. So I'll quickly get into this. Just want to show you the iceberg part, and the execution of that. So gold had quite a quick move up, which caught my eye, and it sort of started to go obviously off my screen as I noticed it. So see, this is the area, so already taken 179, and you just see how this just keeps rebuilding each time, and it keeps coming back, trades in, reloads it, trades in, reloads back to sort of 10 lots. So again, you've got this little low volume area as well. So you've got this little low volume area which is sort of protecting it, and you've got someone hitting it up. So I'm trying to work out, okay, where sort of risk is, you know, if it starts coming trading back down here, you're probably not going to happen. So I'm trying to just look for the buyers and time the trade correctly, and try and just look for something quite key. You know, that iceberg is still there, so that's where you want to be hitting. So a bit of a quick bid up there, end up chasing it a little bit. You just want to be patient with this, because we've seen a couple where they will squeeze you 20 ticks or so, so you've got to be careful buying into them or selling into them. So sort of just like taking its time. Once you can notice it up for 400, and I'm willing to, once it sort of goes, then hit. So I ended up not hitting into it, which is sort of the bad thing. And what I've noticed as well is I did this the other day. Then I'm looking for quite an extension, but I did this the other day and I put my stop at my average price, and it instantly got me out of the trade. So this time I wasn't doing that. You know, what you're having your size at sort of here, look, 146 lots, just willing for that sort of next spike that we got previously. You take that 20, you take that 20s out with that bit of size, and then I'm willing to just, you know, get out on the spike. We shouldn't. What also I was thinking is that you shouldn't see this come back through and trade through the iceberg that quickly. Should then just keep going. You want to see these buyers sort of step in. Again, I haven't got, you know, much size on. I should have been probably buying into that much more. Again, that's sort of the high conviction. you're always in sort of the thinner markets when it does this. I'm always petrified and sort of, you know, worried, so to say, about that. There's a chance that it could squeeze, say, 20 ticks, and you've got to then rebuild. This is sort of what happened on the next part of the trade, is where I had to sort of rebuild, and I didn't get enough size on the next time. So just, you know, trying to hold this, look for it to go back up again. It's sort of, like I say, those rotations are trading sort of between 13s and 3, should we say, in this sort of area. You know, trying to lean on, you know, mainly it's the euro, yen, and cable all start taking highs mainly on the second part of the trade, which is something then I do start to really heavily lean on that. That's why I stay in. But just trying to keep hold of this gold, looking for the energy again. I don't really want to start buying too much more, because really you want to execute a much lower. Maybe I might have been a bit too greedy on this trade in the end, as I'll explain. So again, you've got that 140 lot, which is sort of, you think the market might be attracted to that and, you know, push its way to it. Okay, it's quite sometimes a painful sort of way to, you know, hold the trade, where sometimes the market's thin, the price action isn't as clear, but you definitely do see the change in the energy that you have got much higher. Now, as you can see, as I showed you on the footprint, how much churn there was before you do start to take it up, and you have got that protection, you know, in front of you. So again, you're just already just keeping an eye on these sort of, you know, keeping an eye on the rotations. You're doing a bit of volume up here, which is fine as long as you're staying protected. Once it takes 13s, 14s, you know, you expect it to go back up higher. Sort of a bit more of a fight down here that buyers are willing to just pick this up. Sort of trades down to sort of the 98s. So again, once you're back up here, you've got that bit of size here at the 20s. You're looking for that to get taken, and again you get the spike. And then now I'm looking for this to just then do another one. I then get a bit paranoid, and then I accidentally thought I had a one lot in the box, and I accidentally sort of fat fingered and clicked 2 out. But in hindsight, you know, it was quite a good exit, because it did come back straight back down after that. But again, sort of that part of it was where I should have been prepared to commit to the iceberg. Yes, it can be quite dangerous because it can do the squeeze, like, but it didn't really do much. It sort of came off 10 ticks, didn't it, at the first time, sort of did half of it, come back, and then you rebuild and it still stays there. Sort of when it starts to trade into it is when I start hitting it. You know, obviously you never know how big these are, but again, you know, just working on that structure. So go back to sort of the next part of the trade. So that was this. So that first bit was in here, and this part of the move where you're doing that sort of churn in here, and then you sort of, if you notice, it's sort of like double inside minute bars, and then breaks out to the top side, then comes back. And this is the choppy bit. I ended up buying in here at one point, taking a loser in here. Pretty poor execution from me on that point. And then in here, this is the area. I'll play this at like 2 times speed, because there's a bit more in here. And then the candle, when it breaks the high, I think is when the Austrian 100-year came out. The been sold off on that, which I think might have led into the gold quickly, because I felt quite confident when they started to go, and as I'll explain. But this is just where I execute again. Again, it was all I should have been looking to get involved in here, but again, I knew it was going to be messy and choppy, so I sort of was willing to maybe buy up high, wait for a bit of confirmation, a bit more break of this area. Again, you're taking on more risk really, but again, you know, it's an improvement. It's an improvement for me anyway, just the way I sort of traded this. But I'll get back into this and I'll play at 2 times speed just so we get a bit more. It's a bit quicker. So again, what I'm thinking is that, okay, you've got to accept that you may go offside in this. Again, you've still got the yen up here. You know, cable is 30 ticks away from its high. Euro's near its high. So in the end, is what I was leaning on. And I'm trying to work on, okay, now, if I pause that again quickly and get back to the chart again, was coming into the trend line. So this is my same thought, was you might get the same reaction here, breaking through that bigger move in the bigger sort of area that I was looking at. So that's what I was mainly looking for, is that same sort of reaction. So again, it sort of gets a bit choppy, a bit messy. So again, you just want to see buyers into the top. Again, you want to see that size come in. You want to see it willing to take that 60 lots at the top. And I know I'm going in with ones and trying to build the position. And then what I'm always trying to learn on now is that something I'm trying to commit myself to is if I can get 4 lots, 5 lots on in a position, and then when I need to commit, I then bring out sort of a big clip of 5, should we say, so you can get on the full size. So I was willing to sort of notice this. And again, I think this might have been the open. Or no, 3-ish, I think. I might have done this a bit too. Oh no, so yeah. So again, I will go back to that just now because I got a bit confused on where this was showing. I thought it was showing a bit later. But again, you've got, it comes out 3 o'clock, a bit of volume comes into the market, and I then start noticing things, you know, volumes coming in. Okay, now we're ready to commit. So I managed to get 1 more in, and as we trade up to the 30s, it trades 70 lots into the high, as you may have quickly just saw, and it trades the whole 70. So I hit that, and you get this 90 lot. And what I'm willing to do is then, okay, I wanted that to hold, and then I'll sort of panic a little bit here as I go offside quite quickly. Then we come back down. So it's a bit messy, choppy sort of zone, and I'm willing to then, you know, as you can see, try and hold this whole position. Okay, now let's try and go again. We broke the high. This is where the Austria bond came out, 100-year. This sort of messed everything up. As you probably see, the bonds quickly sold off. Ended up puking some of the positions. So again, waiting. I'll show you that again in normal speed. And I can talk through it again. So as that bit of volume came into the market at sort of 3 o'clock, I think it was, just looking for how can I commit big size into this and play the break of the trend line. So get a bit of volume coming in quite aggressively, get this 57 lots here, and I'm looking to hit that like previous. So it hits that, and I end up hitting 5 lots, I think maybe 26, 27s as it come back down. So it traded that. So then I'm looking, okay, now once we go back up, we can then keep going. So like this 90 lot comes back in. If that doesn't hold, then it's a bit of a worry. I want that to be taken. I think that just gets pulled completely. Then this Austria bond comes out in a second, like here, and I'm trying to get out of it, chase it down. Then I'm just trying to stomach the pain. You get that quick bid back up, then I'm like, okay, now we can go. This now should go. And I'm looking then for it to come back and just spike higher, which we don't get. Sort of the Austria bond doesn't really help. Obviously, you can see the bonds now have come off. So just trying to manage this again while I'm on side, willing to just, if it comes, puts me offside. Really, it's not ideal. I don't really want to be taking 6, 7 tick losers or on 7 lots, to be honest. So that's what my thought was in this process. I know really now my stops should be all the way down here after you've seen that pullback. and then we go back up. So that's how I sort of was thinking at that point of the trade. So this is a few minutes after it's pulled back, and okay, I'm still in it because the trade's still there. It's doing that sort of thing that gold will do, is where it will break the high, but it's going to do that little 20 tick squeeze, which is pretty much what it's doing at the moment. Okay, and stomach it if it goes past that sort of, you know, little area I had. So again, I'll show, yeah, just this in normal speed, this one. So again, I'm just sort of again trying to reassess the situation and go, how can I now get the size on in this area when it's not really trying to work? It's not accelerating like I thought it might be. It's being a bit, you know, messy and, you know, unfair and not unfair, but it feels that way. You know, can I sit through the pain? Can I get all the size back on? So again, you sort of got cables rising back up to here. It's gone up another 10 ticks, nearly at 21s is the high. So again, I'm trying to think again. I still think you can buy into the top, because you might get that big spike that we're looking for. When you do get that, gold does quickly do that 30-40 ticks. Still trying to think of the bigger picture, and that now you've broken that massive bigger time frame sort of trend, is that, you know, now let's keep going. Let's look at this, you know, yen's here, cables backing up, euro got a bit of a bid. So again, willing to just buy into the top of this, and then trying to look for some size, try and manage it, understand the rotations. You get more bit of an aggressive sort of bid here, so breaking the top, you know, squeezing you quite nasty sort of quick pullbacks. So then I'm looking to think, I think I was trying to then buy as low as possible, not buy into the top. So again, we've got that quick bid up again. Then this is where it sort of becomes like, okay, I've got 4 lots on, I can accept 4 lots. Let's not try and hurt the trade too much, and, you know, then I have to keep rebuilding higher and higher. Now I've got some half decent size on. I'm willing to try and run this as much as possible. Look at all the other correlations that I feel like should be helping the trade. Euro cable, as you can see, yen's near the top. Now you're getting more traction to the top of this trade. You know, people willing to buy higher. You know, how far can this go? I think, you know, there's a big sort of target on this. Can I, not like I've done previously where I've got out my size, say in 20 ticks and left a 1 lot. Can I run 4? You know, how can I hold this? And let's improve on sort of holding the structure of the trade, and, you know, taking it as, you know, well as possible. You know, you're still sitting through a bit of pain. You're seeing that bit of surge to the top, and then it doesn't really keep going. You know, it keeps getting sold off quite quickly. As you can see, I'll show you in a moment the delta again on how, noticing that afterwards, that you don't really get too much of a go to it. It's on that continuation type that we look at. So again, you've got quite an, you know, really, you know, holding these 33s, 34s, this little pocket. You know, cables up to 9s, euros, you know, 56.5. I'm sort of trying to get the chart up at the same time, so I'm still waiting for that just to take the top. You know, trying to get the chart up because I had the gold chart up next to it. Trying to work on my 1 minute sort of structures. So again, just being patient. You know, it's taking a bit of time here. Feels like it's taken a long time when this is only sort of 2 minutes. You know, again, sort of slightly, and just willing to sort of take it as sort of another little tiny small iceberg in a way. So that 40's like 300 lots. So now we start getting some more traction. 100 lots here. You know, once you start taking these, I really thought you could accelerate. You know, taking it out. Once gold does this, it just loves to keep going. I feel when it starts to just rotate small, you can keep just pushing. That's what I was looking for. And again, I wasn't willing to get out of any. Layer pull back, you know, yen, cable, you know, euro. You got all of them going at this point. So again, I'm just looking for it to keep going bid and try and lean on other things. You know, maybe I'll get out of something like I normally would do, which is okay. I feel like here, you know, you're, I think 20-30 ticks on side. I'm willing to take out 1, then, you know, if it goes again, willing to take out some more. you know, not maybe you can think about it again and ask yourself the question: how was you, you know, taking this trade? Was you, you know, feeling a bit revenge? Is what I think I called it in the end. And again, I'm willing to just scatter them up. I think the target was sort of the 30s up there. So again, you're still stuck at the high. I'm just still willing to hold this and accept that what is going on is this is good. You know, the way it's trading is fine. I'm happy with how this is going. And you know, you got yen, the euro's off my screen, as you can see. The dollar's coming off a bit. Or the S&P is coming off a little bit. So again, I'm just willing to sit and hold. You know, everything for me is in line here. There's no reason for me to now start to panic and get out. But again, maybe I should have been thinking how gold is trading and how much it's sort of rotating and what it's, you know, it's not really, it's giving you that 30 tick move and then it's pulling it all the way back. That's twice. So how you can think about how does this rotate? How is it trading? Again, once it starts to come back through the 40s, you're a bit worried. You know, my stop's quite below this. I sort of probably take a bigger loser in the end than what I should have been, as I'm, you know, 30 ticks on side at one point with, you know, 3-4 lots. You know, pretty handy winner would have been technically coming in, but that's not the point. The point of this, in a way, this exercise was just to, or this trade was just to, you know, hold the size, you know, try and have the conviction and hold it, and something, you know, maybe different that I've been showing you guys is something I'm working on, is trying to stick and hold these trades. You know, hold the size, not when you get panic when you get out on that churny, that first churny area. I'll play the rest of this at 1.5 or 2 times speed. So again, just trying to work on holding, accepting that it's going to pull back. Yes, this is a bit frustrating as well, that the first time you sort of really try and go for it, you know, try and understand everything, and it doesn't really pay off for you. It can be a bit frustrating, and that's what I felt like a bit afterwards. You know, you got yen, cable, and euro still stuck up there, and gold squeezing 30 ticks, but that's the way the gold sort of have been. You know, we held this little area, and then as it starts to come back, it sort of come back quite heavily, sort of in your face. So again, you know, we've got that quick bid back up, and I think, okay, this is fine now. We've held. Now what do I do? You know, now I hold this. If we come back below here, then I start to puke some more. But again, you sort of got 50 lot, etc., and it just sort of the sellers sort of take more control. Bonds are stuck near their bottom as well. Not really too much. Euro stuck at highs. Cable is, you know, you can see the yen going back up here in this little candle. So I was sort of trying to understand, like, why is gold coming off as well? Why does it need to squeeze? You know, sort of really holding this sort of area, and then eventually it does. Fast forward a little bit. Eventually it does come back down, and I do get out of the trade. Then it does bounce up to the high and come back off again. I do try and rebuy it afterwards. Sort of, you know, not the best trade in the world to have done. But I've just wanted to show you guys something a bit different, of that the trade doesn't, you know, my idea hasn't really fully worked. It's partly worked. Execution's not too bad. Managing the trade from going offside with seven lots, rebuilding to 4, you know, sort of talking through the sort of main idea with what I had on the trade, and that it hasn't fully planned out, but you know, you've given it a good shot. And again, I've probably gone offside here too much with 3. I'm trying to, you know, lean on the bounce and what the other markets are doing, and then these 100 lots just keep 90 lots keep pushing it down, and eventually I'll just get out the trade in a moment. Yeah, so I end up taking a bigger loser than what I should have taken. Again, quickly, I'll quickly get out. So mainly what I was looking to show you lot was, so this was the bigger time frame structure here. So this was the high that I was looking to target. which we eventually got there. But this was the trend line. See what I mean? See what we've got, this bigger like wedge, and now we're breaking out. So once we bounced off this area, I felt like then we could then accelerate and go much higher. But again, it's quite choppy. So that's what the main bigger picture sort of trade was. I felt like there could be bigger participants in that sort of area. So the last little piece was, what can I improve on? So mainly was a few things. Try and understand what type of reaction you're expecting to have. So if you're looking for like the stops, try and exit the trade. If that's all you're sort of mainly looking for, is just put your offers up the page or bids down the page. Know when you want to commit to the trade, having that high conviction. So that first one, I probably should have had more high conviction on that, because I, watching these icebergs over the last few days, sort of like from last Friday and Monday, there was a couple. I think that's probably been 4/5 that have happened. Those sort of last two I showed you in the last two being the smallest of those. So being with the icebergs, hitting into them, it should have been the more high conviction than the second time. So what was the trigger to tell you to commit? Having the iceberg, okay, somebody's willing to sell here, there's going to be some stops maybe above that. Understand how you want to exit as well, depending on how much size you have. So when you're trading like 2s, 3s, 4s, when you have much more size to capability, I may have been holding it, just so you should be making what you could make on with 10, should we say. So if you're in with 10 and you're probably going to scale out of that more quickly, and instead of trying to run 50 ticks, you can have 10 and you can run it 25 ticks, and try and match up the P&L what you should be making. So maybe I was being a bit stubborn in that last one, being committed to the trade, so that when the next effort or trade comes, you're not playing like I'm saying, like the revenge, and then you just put more size on with less conviction, if that makes sense. That's something else maybe I might have done in that point. Don't really think I did too much with that. I felt like the trade idea was there, playing the wedge break. And then last but not least, tell yourself how you want to commit, write it down, then ask yourself the questions afterwards, why you didn't put the size on, etc. So that's something I want to try and do on the trade. I don't like to do that because I don't feel like sometimes it works, but I think maybe I'm going to try and do it just so I want to show how much high conviction is that, what that sort of trade is. So if you having your sort of A+1 setups coming in, and you understand how you want to play this breakout, and everything starts to come in line, why shouldn't you be putting your full size on that technical trade? Or if you're looking for a little sort of scalp of 10, 15 ticks in the thinner markets or etc., and it's not so high conviction, you might want only a couple clips. So then you can question yourself, you take a couple clips on that reversal scalp or whatever. But these bigger moves, you're telling yourself, okay, I need to be bigger size, full size, everything's lining up. So that's something I'm gonna try. Tell yourself what you want to commit. Like I did this yesterday. I said I want to commit. I want to hit oil through 76, I think it was, and I only have 5 on already, and I didn't hit the other 5. So then I had to ask myself why I wasn't hitting the other 5. And again, it was sort of, I was mainly trying to work the position on the way down. I didn't want to then, I told myself you can hit this low and then you can get a move lower. We eventually did, but it was very churny. It was very like sort of, I'll go down 7-8 ticks, pull back 7-8 ticks. So how can I manage that and get you good size on, and not have to then get out of most of it and then rebuild. So it's something to work on for me there. Something to work on that commitment side of things. But that's it from me, guys. Normal information if you want to get in touch, info@axiafutures.com, and I'll be back next week with another stream. Cheers, guys.